Well, I've come through the woods and up an enormous hill called Horsehold. It's one of my favourite walks. And what I like about coming up here is the town just disappears. Look at this. What a blessing and what a day. I hope wherever you are, it's a day like this. It's a bit cold. That blue tells you a bit about the cold, but it's walking along, it's okay, and I'm dressed right for it. Wow. Hey there, John Siddique here, and I've no idea how this video is going to turn out because I've tried to find a sheltered spot up on the hilltop and there's just a mighty wind blowing over, so I hope the little thing on the microphone just manages to keep the wind out of it, otherwise it'd be like or something. So yeah, so I've just come through the woods and come up a big hill, and this is one of my favourite walks, and you're up above the town completely when you come up here, and yet down below we've still got the wreckage and the kind of the destruction still going on from the floods from Boxing Day, and I usually walk back along the canal path which runs just at the bottom of the valley down here, and you can't get all the way along at the minute, so that's going to be interesting. I'm sure I'll find a way through, but I just wanted to check in and say hello. It's been quite a while, and I've been away in India, and you've had your Christmas and your New Year's and your Januaries and your Februaries, and now it's nearly the middle of March and it's the equinox before too long, so spring is coming in this hemisphere and autumn is coming in the other one. And yeah, I was just reflecting as I was walking along. I was asked this morning what I thought home meant, and once upon a time I'd have said all sorts of things, and I'm sure you have answers that come to mind. There's a beautiful bird sound coming over, and having just sort of travelled so much in the last few years, and then having been, almost dead last year, and then not being, and then recovering, my health recovering and all that sort of thing, and following what some might call a spiritual path, which I've always been doing really, but I tended to live from I had a spiritual experience and then I would try to get back to it, and then or have another spiritual experience, and I would chase spiritual experiences, that's how it was beforehand, and then after being poorly, just this kind of sense of always being present and loved and happy even when I'm sad, if that makes any sense. So this question, which came about because of my work as the Poet Laureate for Canterbury, the city of Canterbury in the UK here, I couldn't put what I used to put down. I would have put, my home in Hebden Bridge, these fields, this walk, these skies, these trees, this river down below. I'd have said these things. I'd have said this body, and I'd have said this lifetime. And what I actually wrote was something like, home is no place and no field and no bordered country. It's the flowering, loving presence that we often forget about, or all too often forget about. And that's it. We live looking for home all the time. I mean, I actually have two answers for this. That's the state of presence, I would say, is kind of number one, and then number two is because I believe in not kind of going away and leading a renunciate's life, but kind of being fully awake in this life. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's called the Sankhya path, which Krishna says is the highest path, but I kind of came across this idea for myself, not idea, but just this flowering in my heart. I'm just going to turn this way because of the wind a little bit, and I would say that my partner Abba and I, when we're together, there's a kind of space in between us, and we're both much more when we're together. We're very good on our own, each of us, actually, but when we're together, there's something very magical, and we've been through some hella times, but there's something in the space between us which feels very home. But it's actually the human analogue of this deeper presence, which is there anyway. It's for every one of us. We're all already home. This is the big mistake, the ignorance that we have to deal with. We're trying to get somewhere all the time. We're trying to find love, trying to find home, and love is here. And yes, we do find love with other people, but the love that we really want is that eternal friend of self, the true self, the love that nothing can exist without. And I was thinking the other day, we're the only species on this earth that tries to live unnaturally. These trees are just springing forth because of they're coming from the source of life. Every animal comes from the source of life. The rivers, the mountains, the hills, the water, the grass, every bird, every animal. And it's only our imposition of the mind that makes things other than natural. And I'm not saying we live like cavemen. That's not what I'm saying at all. We have this beautiful tool of the mind. But this sense of home, well, I mean, just join me for a minute if you feel open to. Just you have a natural sense of just being right now. You don't have to think about it. You have a natural sense of just being. And as you are aware of that, you realise that it's not your mind that's aware of it, and yet your mind is going on, and there's little thoughts kind of swimming around it, and then maybe the mind takes over now and is trying to think about it. You see that? For some of us, that's how it is. Or the emotions are kicking in now and saying, no, we've got this to do, we've got that to do. But if we can just say, okay, hang on, just give me a couple of breaths. Just give me a couple of breaths. And you just feel that beingness. That's it. That's all that we are. That's the naturalness that we are. And in fact, we can even feel that we're witnessing that feeling. And there's that. And there's, how far back can we go? So we can see that the mind is functioning and it's got its stuff going on. And we can see that the emotions are functioning and they've got their stuff going on. And yet there's somebody observing that, because otherwise we wouldn't have these functions, would we? We wouldn't have the function of mind, and we wouldn't have the function of emotion. No, these are our feedback devices and our tools. And what often happens is that we get caught up in the structures of the mind, which are all kind of conditional. Because if something happens to me, say you and I are together, yeah? And something happens in front of us. My experience of it and your experience of it will be completely different, even though it's both happened at the same time. So therefore our experiences are not real. They're not really what happened at all. And we can agree on some details. The car was blue, the woman was this, ran off down the street like this, or whatever, the man went over there. But maybe we can't even agree on those things, But if we come to our life from this place of beingness, and if we just try that for a second, see, not thinking about it, not spacing out, not going somewhere else, not creating a visualization, not having to work for home, not having to do lots of practices or anything like that, although practice can help kind of take us sort of deeper, because we come back up to the mind again very quickly, and the mind's like the ripples on top of the water. We dive down. It's always a good thing just to ask ourselves, who's experiencing this? So who's experiencing this now? Who's witnessing the mind? Who's feeling these emotions? It's not another part of the mind, is it? See? So, and there's a sacredness. and a feeling of our feet on the floor and just being here, and we see that we're natural. And that's it. That's all we have to do. You know, this is I haven't anything great to teach. This is all I do with my meditation classes. It's all that I write about, and there's been many other people before me who can say it in much more eloquent ways. I seem to need to say it in a certain way, and maybe the way I say it speaks to you. And but it's not about me. This feeling that you have of yourself, of your beingness, that's you, and that love is you, and that's sacredness. Just here in the heart, not having to wish it or struggle for it. And notice maybe the mind's kind of, come on now, this is ridiculous, you know, or something, or who's this guy? Just don't push it away or anything. Don't just come back to this. And see, there's no need to search for spiritual experiences. You can have them, and they're great road signs. And they're pointing you to this. This is where we come back every day. That's the work. Once you've had some kind of experiences, or our life has changed a little bit, then this is what we do every day. And at first it's a bit of an effort, in that we kind of have to remember to not remember, as it were, the ignorant stuff, and just to kind of see if we can question our way or allow ourselves to come into naturalness. You know, can we loosen off the mind enough? And but over time we just find ourselves naturally here, and the mind works, and we can do our jobs. We can kiss our partners, which is always a fine thing to do. So that's your homework. Kiss the person that you love tonight, and we can cook our dinner and go for walks and raise our children, and yeah, fabulous, isn't it? Lots of love. Many blessings to you. Have a wonderful day.